Hello everyone. So here is Shikha from Technical Cloud Knowledge again, and today I'm back with the lecture number 27 on Linux. So today's topic will be how to change the time for the OS selection in the Linux Grub boot process. So if I talk about in short, today we will going to discuss how we can change the Grub timeout value. Okay, as this lecture is very important, I recommend you all to watch the entire video in order to avoid missing any important detail regarding the topic. Okay, so let's begin the lecture first, then we will do the further discussion. For the better understanding of this lecture, let's open the VMware workstation first. Okay, so let's open this here first, power off your machine. So when you do power on your machine, if you have noticed any time, like whenever you open your machine, if you have noticed, we get such kind of page first. So what does this page refer? Basically, this page is known as kernel selection page. As we can see, there are two kernels. We need to select one of them to boot up our machine. Basically, what happens, this page is known as kernel selection page. We need to select any page, any kernel, but if we do not select any of the kernel from the page, it will by default pick up the top, or we can say the latest kernel, which is known as the main kernel. It will pick up that kernel and boot up our machine with that kernel only. And do you know, by default our machine will be boot up within 5 seconds. If you have noticed, suppose if I do not I'm not executing anything, I'm not running anything or pressing anything, I am just power on my machine. Here you can see I haven't doing anything, and there are the time is also running. If you do have noticed this as well, let me tell you again. Power on your machine and see, if you press up and down option, you will see it will stop. So such kind of interface you will get. Now if I'm power on my machine with the top kernel, within 5 seconds it will automatically boot up. Now most of the people wants to know, like, what happened, how does it happens, what could be the reason behind it, how it could be able to boot up in within 5 seconds automatically. So basically what happens, suppose there are multiple kernel, you have installed multiple version of the kernel, and in your machine you have done such kind of setting that in your grub timeout value your machine will be boot up within 5 seconds. You have done such kind of setting while you were doing the installation of your Linux. At that time you have done such type of setting. So what happens, by the latest kernel your machine will boot up. Okay, so today we will going to discuss over this. I'm going to demonstrate you how we can decrease or increase the grub timeout value. Now most of you wants to know, like, what do I mean by the grub and the grub timeout value. So if I talk about the word grub means Grand Unified Bootloader. It is a kind of a program that is used to manage or loading the boot, or we can say the machine. It will boot up our machine. Okay, so that's why the grub the file is also used. If you do have noticed, under the boot directory there is a file called grub2, and under this file all the data regarding your boot up your machine and whatever be the booting machine, like whatever be the machines related to the things, configuration related to your version or your kernel would be add over this under this file. Okay, so what happens, this is the grub. Now if I talk about the grub timeout value, the grub timeout value means countdown time. It will count the time. Within 5 seconds, your machine will boot up. Okay, so this is the main thing. In your BIOS starting screen, you will get the page within 5 seconds, your machine will boot up with the latest kernel. So basically what happens, suppose if I have 6 to 8 kernel selection. Okay, I have installed 6 to 8 kernel on my kernel selection page. Now if I want to boot up my machine with the 8th kernel, would you think that it would be possible for me to boot up my machine with the 8th kernel within 5 seconds? Is it possible? No, I don't think so, because it will take time to boot up our machine. And if I need to choose the 8th option, then I need to press it. So within 5 seconds, it would be impossible. So in such type of situation, what we can do? So if we face such kind of situation, we need to know how we can decrease or increase the grub timer value. Okay, suppose this one is the first reason. Second would be like, suppose what happens, sometimes our application is not able to boot up with that specific kernel. Suppose the kernel number one, which is running on the top, or the main kernel, we can say the latest kernel from where our machine will be boot up mostly. So my application is not able to work on that kernel. So sometimes what happens, some of our application would not be able to work properly on that specific kernel, which is our latest kernel. We need to move to the other kernel. We need to opt for the other kernel as well. So that's why we have installed many kernels, so that if our application is not able to support it with the first kernel, we can use the other kernel. But within 5 seconds, it would be impossible for us to boot up our machine with the other kernels too. So that's why we need to know how we can change the grub timeout value. Let's understand it. Log in your account. Okay. And be careful while watching this lecture. It's very important how we can change it. So as we are able to see that within 5 seconds, the grub timeout value has been saved or set till 5 seconds. Now we need to change it. Suppose I want to change it to, I want to increase it to under 20 seconds. How we can do so? So first open the terminal. Okay. Now first let's come under boot directory. Run ls command. Here you need to come under this directory grub2, which I'm talking about yet. Okay, so come cd grub. You don't need to write full thing, just tab. Okay. Now run ls command. Here you will see these content is available under grub2 directory. Now we need to come under grub.cfg file. So to read or come under the file, we need to use the command vim. So when you come under this file, you will able to see your grub timeout value, which has been set by default. So you can see here, as it is visible to all of you, that set timeout value is 5. As we can see, the timeout value is 5 seconds. We need to change it. So we can't do the changes in the original file. We need to do it in the backup file. So whatever the changes we will do in the backup file, it will somewhere related with our original file. And the changes we would make under the backup file, we need to do the, we need to just refresh our machine, refresh our main original file, and are the changes which we create on our backup file, it will automatically save under the original file too. I'm going to tell you how we can do so. Just see this. So we are able to check our timeout value, what has been set. Now we want to change it. So for that, you need to come under vim etc. Under etc directory, there is also a directory called default, and under this you need to come under grub file. Okay, so as you can see here, grub timeout value is 5 seconds. From here we need to change it. Okay, press O and then change it. I need to change it to 20 seconds. Just write here 20 and save this file. So the changes you have made in this your backup file, you need to just refresh your main original file. So to make or refresh your file or to save the changes in the original file too, you need to run the command grub2 hyphen mkconfig space hyphen o, and then under boot directory grub2 file and the grub.cfg. Make changes under this file too. So as you can see, the changes has been saving under our CFG, or we can say the original file too. So as you can see, generating grub configuration file done. Now when we come under this file, we are able to see that run vim grub.cfg. So you can see here, as we can see, our timeout value has been changed to 20 seconds. So that's how we can do so. That's how we can increase our grub timeout value, or we can change our grub timeout value. And when we reboot our machine, now it will take 20 seconds to boot up our machine, as we have able to change the grub timeout value. So that's how we will increase the grub timeout value. If you want to decrease it, just write the minus number like 1, 2, as it is automatically boot up by default within 5 seconds. You can write below the 5 seconds like 4, 3, 2 and 1. Okay, as we can see, the timer value has been increased. So now it takes time. So now we can able to boot up our machine with any of the kernel very easily. Okay, so I hope you are clear with that much. Till the time it is booting up. So now just boot up, login with the root. So that's how we are able to increase the grub timeout value. So for the decrease option, just do the same thing. Okay. Just do the same thing. Come under boot directory, ls, come under grub2 option, and then do ls, and then come under vim etc default grub. So here just do the changes. Write 2 seconds. Okay. Now we are able to boot up our machine within 2 seconds. We have decreased the grub timeout value. Now to save the changes, run grub2 hyphen mkconfig hyphen o, and then boot grub2 and then write grub.cfg. So as we are able to save the changes. Okay. Now when you reboot your machine, so now it will boot up under within 2 seconds. Just look at the timeout value. Okay. See 1 and 2. Just. So that's how we are able to decrease the grub timeout value too. Okay. Now it is booting up. So now login. So that's how we will able to decrease the grub timeout value too. Okay, so I hope you will able to know how we can decrease or increase our grub timeout value for the kernel selection. So I hope you find this lecture useful, and if you want to know more updates and lectures on Linux, stay tuned with me, Shikha, and with our technical cloud knowledge. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching.